Welcome to UBP TV. We have seen a lot of turbulences in the financial markets in past months and raising worries about the US economy. Let's try to briefly answer to a few questions on the US. Are the US on the verge of a recession? No. The growth outlook is positive and we expect US GDP to settle on a 3% growth trend in the coming quarters and next year. This will represent one of the most dynamic growths within the G7 countries. US are back as a leader among developed countries in terms of growth, technology, and also finance. Will the sluggishness of Eurozone impact the US activity? The US growth seems solid and more self-sustained than in past years. The main driver of US growth is domestic demand. Private investment from the corporate sector and the consumption should grow by 3% in the coming quarters. US exports are not really dynamic as world trade remains sluggish. The net trade is not currently a positive contributor to GDP growth, and the expected rise of the US dollar should not reverse this situation. So if Eurozone continues to stagnate, it will not impact the US growth too much, let's say around -0.1, -0.2 percentage point on GDP growth numbers. Are there any risks of deflation in the US? Inflation is low globally, and it should remain low next year. In the US, inflation has slowed down to 1.7% year-on-year due to lower oil and commodity prices and also lower food prices. We expect 2015 inflation to be around 1.5% in average. Inflation should remain low in the first semester next year, around 1.2–1.5%, before to be back on a 2% trend at the end of the year. This is not deflation. We expect wages to continue to rise slightly, and we already see credit to consumer and corporate sector in acceleration. So US growth should benefit from this low inflation environment, but should not enter in a sort of deflation scenario. What could or should do the Fed? The Fed will probably maintain its current strategy. After the end of the quantitative easing in October, we think the Fed will continue to prepare markets to a rate hike next year. Trend in the labor market is positive and robust, and the unemployment rate should continue to decline to 5.5% over the next 6 months. If GDP growth accelerates toward 3%, a zero interest rate policy seems domestically no more justified. But as the Fed is pragmatic and as there is no obvious consensus within the FOMC, the adjustment in rates should be modest and to be done step by step in order not to destabilize the bond market and not to derail the US growth and the world economy. What kind of long-term growth could we expect for the US? The US are better positioned than other developed countries regarding trends in productivity and population. The workforce is expected to grow by just below 1% in the next 5 years. Productivity is volatile, but thanks to an expected strong investment cycle in the US, it should rebound to 1.82%. These two factors give grounds of a solid growth trend in the US, well above the situation of other developed countries. Thank you and see you soon on UBP TV.